I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I am from Hull. It's
Really?
I know. It's a great city filled with good stuff and even better people. And this year, we've got the privilege of being crowned the UK City of Culture. Yay! And after years of mocking, there are some fantastic things for the media to report back to the rest of the country. Alas, it was not the case. The new year had barely begun before the Sun newspaper poured scorn on the award, seeing an opportunity to give the city a further kick-in. It feels like every time the South gets the opportunity to look down their noses at the North, they cannot do so quickly enough. The Brexit result has highlighted the North-South divide, and I can only see it getting worse. I've lost count of the amount of times I've heard Southerners refer to thick Northerners, and it's time you lot stop looking down your nose at us and realise that the UK exists beyond the London bubble.
Well, I just want to ask one question. Are you from a council estate in Hull?
Have I never mentioned?
I don't know.
By the way, there's an amazing book called Anything is Possible, which tells the entire story of my upbringing. You should purchase it. But yes, a lot of my life was spent on a council estate in Hull, yeah.
As a fellow council estate person, as you know. Well, I just want to say, I don't... Michelle, I think you're giving yourself and the North way too much credit. I'm sorry. It's not that important because Southerners look down their noses at everyone. I'm sure the Scots, the Welsh, the Irish, they'd all say the same thing. And also, you know, yes, I get it, but the Sun, this is one time actually the newspapers weren't lying. All those things actually happened that night.
In every city across the land.
Yeah, but they happened. So if we're saying this is and I love Hull, my niece is at Hull University, so I'm a big fan of Hull. So if we're saying that Hull is the city of culture for the year, and in fact the American ambassador says it's his favourite British city.
He did.
Well, surely then we can also say the stuff about Hull that isn't good, because it's true. Those things did happen. They're not making it up. And the Sun is a national newspaper. It's not a southern newspaper.
There's an easy response, isn't there, for the people of Hull? They should do what the people of Liverpool did and say, if you're going to run that stuff, we're not going to buy the Sun anymore.
Well, they've tried to do that.
And if they did take it out of most of the newsagents and they did stop buying, actually, that would really panic the Sun, as what's happened in Liverpool did. Mm-hmm. But I've lived in Yorkshire. I know Hull well. I like Hull. But don't kid yourself, it's only the south that is rude about Hull.
Exactly.
The rest of Yorkshire is rude about Hull.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, it is true.
I think that the capital of culture thing is a great idea, and I think it's really good to attract people to cities they wouldn't otherwise go to. But I do worry that it's not a substitute for having genuine reasons, you know, a functioning economy, of manufacturing-based jobs, because look at Derry and Londonderry, you know, Derry, Londonderry, whatever you want to call it, that was the last UK capital of culture. 3 years on, they've admitted there's no money to actually see through the legacy projects that they promised as part of the year. You know, while it was the capital of culture, people went there, people visited, and now it's kind of back to business as usual. So I don't think it's a substitute for having kind of organic reasons for people to visit a place. I mean, it might give it a short-term boost, but then what happens next? And I think, you know, there is a bigger problem about what's happening in the north. And, you know, for me, it's not looking down our noses. And my grandmother was from Yorkshire. You know, I feel really strongly attached to Yorkshire as well. I spent a lot of time last year in Bradford for various reasons. And, you know, there are some businesses that have put their headquarters in Bradford and they're struggling to attract people who just don't want to live there, you know. And so you need more things happening. You need a kind of virtuous circle of jobs and creative industries and manufacturing. And at the moment, all our economy is based in London because of the financial services sector, and it just means inevitably most of the country is not thriving.
No, but Hull is a classic. I mean, as I say, I spent quite a lot of time in Hull at one time, and I asked why. I mean, first of all, Hull had the worst education system in the country.
It did.
It came bottom of all the measures.
Don't judge my educational standards on that, though.
But I also asked, well, why is this? And the explanation I was given was, well, if you were male, and it's a very male-based city, if you were male in...
What do you mean it's a male-based city?
Well, it's very macho, Hull as a city, isn't it?
Well,
That would explain some of Michelle's.
No, it's very
and I respect Greg, by the way, because you set up a big BBC headquarters in your time there, which it made a difference to the city.
But the real problem was that the city was based on the fishing industry, and the fishing industry closed down. And the kids who they tell me, when the boys, particularly at school, they were told, well, we don't have to bother with education because you're going on the boats. And suddenly there were no boats to go onto. Now that's taken probably 20, 30 years to transform. And I hope Hull... I was really pleased when it became the City of Culture, because there were always really interesting things in Hull, and I sincerely hope that as a city and as a local authority, they get their act together and it really works.
Well, unlike you, Michelle, and you, June, I don't share a lot about my background, but I can actually now reveal this is going to be a love-in, because I totally agree with what you said. My mum was from the north. She's from Lancashire. She moved to Leicester before she was even in primary school, so I have a northern mum, so I'm a big fan of the north. I'm also a big fan of the Sun. I love the Sun newspaper. I worked on the Sun newspaper. I learnt a lot of my craft. And I regularly read the Sun. And I wonder whether you saw the Sun over the festive period when they took you around Hull and all the readers were treated to this wonderful centre page spread. In which, Michelle Dewberry, you said, there's a hull of a lot of love here. I wouldn't live anywhere else. Michelle Dewberry, where do you live?
I split my time.
No. Michelle Dewberry, where do you...
I split my time between Hull and London. I have a house in both places.
You might have a house. I mean, people have houses. He's got houses all over the world. But doesn't mean he lives there.
I split my time, and I am really keen to spend more of my time actually in Hull. And if Sky was to open a studio in Hull,
no, they've got more sense in this bloke. They're not spending the taxpayers' money in Sky. That's the bloody difference. He can open bureaus in Hull and everybody else because he just shakes the money tree and the bloody money falls down. Unlike real business.
What is really interesting about what we did in Hull when we opened a new
we funded.
A new BBC region. Well, it was funded by the licence fee.
In Queen's Garden.
And a new region.
Me.
Actually, I think the people watching our local shows went up by 30%.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, here we go. Big in Hull. That's the BBC's new slogan. We're big in Hull.
God, it's because you occasionally talk to somebody from Hull on your radio show. You think you have an understanding, don't you?
But bringing it back to my key point, I believe, and I do believe, that there is this feeling amongst, and it's particularly within the London bubbles, and I'm not going to say the whole of the South, that you somehow feel, or people feel, that they are better than those people in the North. So, for example, and I bring it back to what the Sun newspaper did, yes, I understand that Hull's had a kicking for many years. And it's not just about Hull, by the way, it's much broader, but it had a kicking for many years. There was an opportunity to do something good about the city, and even then, people could not and still cannot help themselves but give the city a kicking again and again and again. It's like, to your point, the schools are different, people's educational results are different, the public spending between the North and the South is different. And all I want is the Northerners to...
You keep telling us, how much do you get your shoes repaired when you go up to Hull? Remind me, how much
they're dirt cheap. You love this about me.
No, I applaud it, but you get your whole shoes heeled and booted, I don't know, for £3 and down
and I get much cheaper rounds.
No wonder we get more money down south. It's more expensive to have your shoes repaired. It's more expensive to live down south.
Yes,
so we need more money.
Yes, but you can't.
Thank you.
Yeah, but what you need, and it is so, when we talk about the City of Culture, I think the City of Culture has been fantastic for Hull, and I hope that it has a legacy. And what I'm seeing, actually, and one of the things that excites me the most, is the aspiration levels of the people within Hull. Yeah. I stood and watched the Made in Hull light show over the Christmas period, and I could see so many residents, they're sitting there going, yeah, this is awesome, we can do this, we can do this. And it's about the people, the northern folk understanding, actually, that, that we can create new economies for ourselves. So we've got Siemens, for example, in Hull, which is like a big wind turbine. I know, but it's not just about Hull, it's broader.
In the case of the Sun, they kind of did both. You had the positive spread with you, fair enough, and then the spread that was just honest about what was actually happening in the city.
You say it's honest. You know what happens is that some news editor or some sat in a meeting and said, why don't we, it's Hull City of Culture, let's have a good idea. Let's go and find every awful thing that's happening in Hull.
You don't have to look
That's exactly what newspapers do. You know that.
Yes, they do.
Know that.
Right, my fellow half Northerner, I've got something for you. Come with me.
Right.
Oh.
We're not going to the Ritz-Carlton in Moscow by any
chance.
In your
dreams, my friend. In your dreams.
Right.
Now, seen as you claim to be so affiliated with the North, I've got a bit of a geography test for you.
I thought you might.
First things first, I want you to tell me, where is Hull?
Hull?
Yes.
Kind of this-ish area, really.
No, it's more kind of there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
right,
I know
okay,
that.
okay.
We've just got
right.
Whiz Beach.
Right, I was sort of... Oh, yes, okay, yeah.
My second
okay.
point.
Go on.
Scarborough.
Scarborough.
Where is Scarborough?
Scarborough is going to be here.
That's not too far off. I'll kind of give you that.
Okay.
It's roundabout there.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
next one,
Yeah,
the
go on.
market town of Darlington. Where is
Darlington.
it?
Darlington is it's on the Yorkshire County Durham border, so I'm going to go sort of here-ish.
Yeah, it's probably not too far off. I'd probably swing it around there somewhere.
You're regretting
Not too
this
far.
test now,
I know,
aren't you?
I want June up here, that's what I want. And my last one, Preston.
Preston is in Lancashire, so we've got to come over to the other side of the country. Great about I'll go about there-ish, roughly.
Yeah, you're not too far
Right,
off.
and this, by the way, everybody, this is where Michelle lives, right? Michelle lives there.
This is what Michelle does.
Thank you.
She uses transport.
Thank you. Michelle
doesn't
lives
too.
there. Thank you very much.
Oh, I wish I'd picked June for that. He always gets it, doesn't he?